Welcome back everyone to 제니퍼의Actual speaking. It is time for lesson 17 and today we'll be talking about sickness. We all get sick. Sometimes we catch a cold, sometimes we even catch something serious. The flu, for example, or we could of course be very sick and have to stay in the hospital. Anyhow, today's topic is sickness. So first of all, let me begin by asking you this question. Jog your memory. Think about the past. What happened in the past? Did you ever fake a fever? For example, you feel fine, but just because you don't want to go to school or you don't want to go to work, you may call in and say, I'm not feeling well today. I can't come to work today. Of course, you are faking that fever or that sickness, right? I'm sure it happens once in a while. Anyhow, when we're talking about illnesses or sicknesses, it's very simple. Just remember a few rules when it comes to expressions. Now, when a certain body part hurts, let's say, for example, your tooth hurts, what do you say? You say, I have a toothache. If your head hurts, you say, I have a headache. So you would add A-C-H-E, ache at the end. Of course, if you have a pain in a part of your body, you would say, I have a pain in the back of my neck. I have a pain in my arm, and so forth. We'll be learning all about these expressions today, so are you ready? Let's get started. Welcome back everyone. Here, let's begin with the first segment of our lesson. It is to brainstorm the cues, of course, with the 5 W's and how. Let's check it out. Now, as I did mention, we are going to do a rough outline of the brainstorming cues. So first of all, with who, you could ask yourself this question. Who did you contract the disease or illness from? Contract here, contract가 아니에요. 계약하다, 계약서 할 때 contract가 아니라 listen, it is to contract. It is used as a verb. Usually you can contract a disease or an illness if it is contagious. 전염성이 있는 병 같은 게 걸린다라고 할 때 you say contract something, okay? So think about a time that you contracted a disease or an illness. Who you contracted it from. All right, moving on. Who do you call or turn to when you get sick? I usually call my mom when I get sick, so I could talk about that. Now, what were you sick with? What were you sick with? Were you sick with a cold, a fever, a stomachache? Think about those things. Also, what have you taken or what have you done for it? You could have perhaps taken medication, medicine for your illness, or what have you done for it, meaning did you go to the hospital? Did you go somewhere to get it treated? Now brainstorm along and let's move on. What were your symptoms? We'll go over some symptom expressions later on today, so if you need help, well, stick around, do not worry. Moving on to when. When did you get sick? Think about a time that you got sick and also think about what you were sick with. Moving on to our next when. When was the last time you called in sick? Now remember, I did mention in the opening of our program to call in sick. I think we often did mention this. Call means to make a phone call, to telephone someone. But if you say call in, it means to, of course, call someone to say that you are sick. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well today, so I can't come to work. Now, if you made that phone call, you are calling in sick. So think about the last time you had to call in sick. Moving on to where. Where did you go to treat the illness? Did you go to a small clinic? Did you go to a big hospital? 종합병원 같은 곳? Did you go to a general hospital to get the illness treated or the sickness treated? Moving on to where did you go to get medication for your illness or disease? This time we're talking about medication, which is another word for medicine, okay? Now let's move on to why. Why did you go to see the doctor? Obviously, because you were probably sick. So think about a time that you were sick and also think about this question. Let's move on to how. How long did you have to stay in bed? This is if you stayed at home, okay? So for how many days or for how many hours did you have to stay home and get some rest in bed, lying in bed? Or how long did you have to stay in the hospital? In other words, for how long were you hospitalized? All right, let's move on to our next how. How did you get sick? Now, did you get this cold from someone else? If it is a contagious disease, right? 전염성이 있는 병이라면 누구한테 옮았을 수 있죠? In that case, you can say, I got it from so-and-so. Or how did you get sick? Perhaps you ate something wrong. 뭔가를 잘못 먹어서? Of course. And then, how many days did you have to take off from work? Take off, meaning not go to work. Or how many days did you have to take off from school? Meaning, for how many days did you or couldn't you go to school? Let's move on to the very last how. It is how often do you tend to get sick? We're talking about tendency. Are you weak? Are you in a poor health condition? Some people, they do have a very weak immune system, so they tend to get much more easily sick compared to others. I don't get sick that often, so I would probably say I tend to get sick maybe once a year or at max twice a year. So think about these brainstorming cues and let's move on and listen to today's actual talk.
Hey Peter, you look pale as a ghost. Are you okay?
I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I
Yeah.
think I'm coming down with something.
Oh no, what symptoms are you experiencing?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit queasy and I've
Okay.
got a throbbing headache. It's also because I didn't get a lot of sleep lately, but
Oh no, yeah. When you're tired, I think your body is more susceptible of getting sick.
yeah.
Yeah, but I heard there's a bug going around. Is anybody at your house sick?
Yeah, both my boys got sick over the last week.
Oh,
They're
no.
starting to get better now. Maybe I should go accuse them of giving it to me.
They're only babies though, right? But you should have called in sick to get
I
some more
don't-
rest and stuff.
I don't generally call in sick very easily.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I don't think I've called in sick in a while too, actually.
well, it's part of being professional.
Yeah, I agree. But sometimes when you're really sick, I think it's better to stay home and rest instead of going to work and you're not being able to fully recover. And you might even spread the flu or something to other people.
Yeah. When was the last time you called in sick?
I think it was 2 years ago when I called in sick. I was just traveling overseas and I ate something funny. So when I came back, I got really terrible food poisoning. I was so queasy. I was vomiting.
You got to
I was-
be careful what you eat.
Yeah, definitely. I was breaking out in chills and high fever and everything. And I was really contemplating whether or not I should call in sick. So I waited to the last minute. I waited in the morning and I just said to my boss, I called him. I was like, I am so sick. I'm so sorry, but I cannot
I
work
bet
today.
you didn't sound that happy when you did it.
No,
Did you try to act it up?
Actually, genuinely, I was really sick. So I was literally crawling on the floor.
I don't
on the
feel
floor.
good.
Exactly.
You got to have that voice.
Yes, I do.
Otherwise, they don't believe you.
I know, but my boss is really nice about it, and he was like, okay, please get some rest. Thankfully, they had someone to cover for me.
That's good.
Yes.
Well, hopefully I'll get better soon, too.
Yes, I wish you the best of luck on the road to recovery.
So as we all listen to the actual talk conversation between Peter and Rachel, what did they say? First of all, Peter said what? He's not feeling very well. He said, I think I'm coming down with something. He's somehow feeling out of sorts. He's not feeling well. And what about Rachel? She said that once when she went overseas, she ate something wrong, and there was a time that she had food poisoning, and that was when she was really, really sick. She had to call in sick. Okay, let's take a look at the actual talk conversation between the two, line by line. Now, first of all, of course, Rachel asked Peter, Peter, you look pale as a ghost. That is what she said. Look pale as a ghost, or look as pale as a ghost, because you are comparing this person's looks to a ghost. What does that mean, look pale? First of all, pale, P-A-L-E, means very light colored. So if someone looks very white and sick, you would say, you look pale. But she's saying, you look pale as a ghost. You look pale as a ghost. You look as white as a ghost, meaning you do not look very well. And then she says, are you okay? Now, Peter says, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. Now, under the weather. Imagine that it is raining outside, okay? Now, you are under the rain, and usually when it rains, how do you feel? We feel gloomy. We don't have much energy. People tend to feel depressed and down. So, when you're talking about your health condition and not the weather, you are saying, I feel a little under the weather, meaning I'm not feeling very well. Somehow I'm not feeling well. So it says, I think I'm coming down with something. Now we'll go over this expression later on, but to come down with something means I'm not feeling well. Okay, in Korean you would probably say 뭔가 좀 몸이 안 좋아. 뭔가 몸이 안 좋아. 감기가 걸리나? 감기 같은 게 걸리는 것 같아. Now, you're not sure what you are sick with, but you know that you are getting sick. In that case, you would say, I think I'm coming down with something. Imagine something really heavy pushing you from above. You're feeling heavier and heavier and heavier, right? You have less energy. So when you are not feeling well, when you're feeling a little bit sick, you would say, I think I'm coming down with something. Moving on, Rachel says, oh no, what symptoms are you experiencing? Okay, so she's asking, what symptoms are you experiencing? Do you have a fever? Are you coughing? Now, have you been vomiting? Things like that. What did Peter say? He says, I'm feeling a little bit queasy and I've got a throbbing headache. Now here, let's take a look at queasy first. What does queasy mean? Queasy, queasy. It means that you feel nauseous. You have nausea. In other words, you're not feeling very well here in the stomach and you feel like throwing up, vomiting, okay? So he says, I'm feeling a little bit queasy and I've got a throbbing. What is throb? Throb is a verb which means to poke, to puncture something. So if you say a throbbing headache, it means, oh, my head is throbbing. I have a very bad headache. 욱신욱신거리다, 지끈지끈거리다. 바로 그 표현이에요. Throbbing headache. It's also because I didn't get a lot of sleep lately. So he's saying, I've been tired, so I'm getting sick. And these are my symptoms. Now, Rachel says, when you're tired, your body's more susceptible to getting sick. The pronunciation is susceptible, not susceptible. Susceptible. Susceptible, okay? So if you say you are susceptible to something, to getting sick, you are likely to get sick, okay? I heard there's a bug going around. So going around means to circulate. It's everywhere, but what does bug mean here? Oftentimes when we say there is a bug and we're talking about the internet or computers, we're talking about a virus. That's right. So this means I heard there's a virus going around, a bug going around. Is anybody at your house sick? Now, Peter mentioned something about his two little boys. He said, both my boys got sick over the last week. Now, this part, if it sounds a bit awkward to you, it's understandable. Now, over the weekend or last week sounds okay, but why over the last week? Now, the reason he said this is because he's talking about a certain extended time. He's saying over the last week, meaning all throughout the week. That's why he said over the last week. So his boys have been getting sick over the last week. They're starting to get better now, which is good. They're feeling better. And he says, as a joke, maybe I should go accuse them of giving it to me. It here means the sickness, right? The virus that's going around. So he's just, I guess, jokingly saying, yeah, it's their fault. Because of them, I'm getting sick. Maybe I should go accuse them of giving it to me. giving the virus to me. Now, Rachel says they were only babies, though. And then, you should have called in sick. Okay, call in sick. We have it once again, call in sick, meaning to make a phone call and say that you are sick to get some more rest and stuff. So rest and things like that, in other words. Now, Peter says, I don't generally call in very easily. Sometimes when people feel sick, some people tend to call in sick very easily. Some people try to cope with it and say, nah, I'll be okay. I can go to work. So Peter is the type of person that usually or generally does not call in sick very easily. Now Rachel says, but sometimes, that's right, when you're really sick, when you're very, very sick, I think it's better to stay home. Okay, stay home, not go anywhere, stay home and rest. Stay home and rest instead of going to work and not being able to fully recover. Now, recover here means to get better, of course. So when she's saying fully recover, it means to recover 100%. So once again, she's saying if you're really, really sick, it's better to stay home and get plenty of rest and fully recover and then go to work. You might even spread the flu or something to other people. Now here, spread, okay? If it is a contagious disease, you could spread it. 누구에 옮길 수 있겠죠, right? You can spread a cold or spread the flu. But she's saying you could spread the flu. Now, I did mention earlier on, if you have a cold, you would say, I have a cold. Use the article a. I have a stomachache. But in this case, when we say flu, we most often use it with the article the. So it's always the flu, not a flu. And of course, flu is short for influenza, as you may all know. So always say the flu, okay? Now, Peter says, yeah, when was the last time, okay, you called in sick? So let's find out when was the last time Rachel called in sick. It was 2 years ago when I called in sick. And she says, I was traveling overseas and I ate something funny. What does that mean? 웃긴 걸 먹었다? 재미있는 걸 먹었다? 무슨 말일까요? Now in this case, this means I ate something wrong, okay? There was something wrong with the food I ate, so I ate something funny. You would say this if you're not sure what the problem with the food was. So you're saying, I think it was the food, but I'm not quite sure what was wrong with it. And you think it was the food that made you sick, in that case you would say, okay, I ate something funny. She says, so when I came back from my overseas trip, I got really terrible food poisoning. Food poisoning is what? This is when you get sick after eating bad food. 식중독이죠. So I was so queasy. Once again, what was it? To feel nauseous, you want to vomit, and you feel dizzy and sick. And I was vomiting, exactly. I was breaking out in chills and a high fever. To break out, this means to happen suddenly. A war could break out, right? If there was no warning, a war could break out. You could break out in pimples or a rash on your face. 갑자기 뭐가 뻥 터지는 거예요. But she says, I was breaking out in chills. Chills means, I don't know, sudden coldness, I guess. So she was breaking out in chills and a high fever. So she had a very high temperature, a high fever, and she was feeling very cold all of a sudden. Okay, she was breaking out in chills and a high fever. And I was really contemplating, okay? Contemplate means to, I guess, take some time considering something. Should I do this? Should I not do it? So she was contemplating whether or not I should call in sick. So she waited till the last minute. Till, in other words, means until. In the morning, I called my boss and she said, I'm so sick, I'm so sorry, but I cannot work today. So she called in sick and said this. Now, Peter asks, did you try to act it up? Act it up. Act itself means what? Of course, actors and actresses, they, of course, act. But if you say act something up, it means to fake something. 모모인 척하다, okay? She says, you know, I was really sick, so I was literally crawling on the floor. Babies crawl on the floor. 아기들이, 그렇죠, 기어다니죠. In this case, she was so sick, she was crawling on the floor, not in, but here we say on the floor, on the phone. He was really nice about it, and he said, okay, please get some rest. And thankfully, 다행히도, they had someone to cover for me. If you say cover for someone, it means do something for that person or take that person's place. So when she's saying thankfully they had someone to cover for me, it means they found someone that could do my job for me that day when she couldn't go to work. Okay, let's move on to the very last part. That's good. Well, hopefully, Peter says, I'll get better soon too. And she says, I wish you the best of luck on the road to recovery. We'll be taking a look at this expression later on as well, but this in Korean is 회복하다. So in other words, she says, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you feel well soon. I hope you get well soon. I wish you the best of luck on the road to recovery. Okay, that is today's actual talk, so have a listen to it one more time with the subtitles.
Hey, Peter. You look pale as a ghost. Are you okay?
I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I
Yeah.
think I'm coming down with something.
Oh no, what symptoms are you experiencing?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit queasy, and I've
Okay.
got a throbbing headache. It's also because I didn't get a lot of sleep lately, but
Oh no, yeah. When you're tired, I think your body is more susceptible of getting sick.
yeah.
Yeah, but I heard there's a bug going around. Is anybody at your house sick?
Yeah, both my boys got sick over the last week.
no.
They're starting to get better now. Maybe I should go accuse them of giving it to me.
They're only babies though, right? But you should have called in sick to get
I
some more
don't-
rest and stuff.
I don't generally call in sick very easily.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I don't think I've called in sick in a while too, actually.
well, it's part of being professional.
Yeah, I agree. But sometimes when you're really sick, I think it's better to stay home and rest instead of going to work and you're not being able to fully recover. And you might even spread the flu or something to other people.
Yeah. When was the last time you called in sick?
I think it was 2 years ago when I called in sick. I was just traveling overseas and I ate something funny. So when I came back, I got really terrible food poisoning. I was so queasy. I was vomiting.
You got to be careful what you eat.
Yeah, definitely. I was breaking out in chills and high fever and everything. And I was really contemplating whether or not I should call in sick. So I waited to the last minute. I waited in the morning and I just said to my boss, I called him. I was like, I am so sick. I'm so sorry, but I cannot work today.
I bet you didn't sound that happy when you did it.
No,
Did you try to act it up?
Actually, genuinely, I was really sick. So I was literally crawling on the floor.
I don't
on the
feel
phone.
good.
Exactly.
You got to have that voice.
Yes, I do.
Otherwise, they don't believe you.
I know, but my boss is really nice about it, and he was like, okay, please get some rest. Thankfully, they had someone to cover for me.
That's good.
Yes.
Well, hopefully I'll get better soon too.
Yes, I wish you the best of luck on the road to recovery.
Okay, now it's time for us to move on to our actual talk expressions. Let's find out what expressions you can use when you are sick. For example, let's first of all begin with when you're not feeling well. When you're feeling sick, you can say, I feel like I'm coming down with something. This is exactly what Peter said in today's actual talk. So you're not sure why you're sick, but you feel sick. You feel weaker, right? You have less energy. Maybe you even don't have an appetite. In that case, you can say, I think I'm coming down with something, okay? Let's check out another similar expression. I feel something coming on right now. Coming on right now. Remember, come down, the illness or the sickness is weighing you down, so you feel very sick. In this case, something, an illness or a sickness is coming towards you, so you're feeling sick. So I feel something coming on right now, okay? Also means I'm not feeling well. Moving on to a few more. I'm feeling under the weather. We take a look at that. You're not feeling well. I'm feeling out of sorts. Out of sorts means your body does not feel normal. Something's wrong with it. So if you say, I'm kind of feeling out of sorts, it means I'm not feeling well. All right, here's another one. There's a bug going around. Remember, a bug meaning not 벌레 in this case. It means a virus, okay? There's a bug, a virus going around. Everyone is getting sick these days. And I think I've picked it up, okay? To pick something up means to grab something. In this case, perhaps you have picked up the virus. So you are not feeling very well. Moving on to I'm feeling as sick as a dog. This is an expression that's used quite often. When you're feeling really terrible, you would say I feel or I'm feeling as sick as a dog. Moving on to when you have a temperature meaning a fever, you can say I'm getting the chills. 으실으실 추운 거죠. I'm getting the chills. And I'm also running a temperature. Running a temperature means your fever, your temperature is getting higher and higher and higher, okay? So you have a fever. My fever is taking a turn for the worse. Keep this in mind. Taking a turn for the worse basically means you are sick with something, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. 어딘가가 안 좋은데 점점 나빠지고 있다라고 하실 때 이 표현 쓰시면 돼요. Okay? My fever in this case. 열이 있었는데 점점 오르고 있는 상태를 말할 수 있겠죠? My fever is taking a turn for the worse, meaning it's getting even bad. Well, you wouldn't say that, but worse. Bad. Even worse. Moving on. My face feels flushed. Flush here means to get red, okay? 좀 벌개지는 거죠. So of course, if you have a fever, our face tends to get red as well. So you can say, my face feels flushed. It feels red and kind of hot. Moving on to symptoms quickly, you can say simply by adding the article a, you can say I have a sore throat. 목이 아픈 거죠. I have a headache. I have a cough. 기침이 나요. I have aches and pains. All right, notice we have S's here, so you would not say a. You would say I have aches and pains. 몸이 여기저기 다 아파요. What about this one? 아까 chills 봤죠? Chills. 몸이 으슬으슬 추운 거예요. So you would say I have cold chills or 배가 아프다. 복통이 있다. I have a stomachache. That's simple. Let's move on. It hurts when I swallow food. 어떻게 하면 아파요? It hurts when I. It hurts when I. Keep that in mind. Swallow food. In this case, swallow food. 음식을 삼킬 때마다 아프다라는 말이에요. Moving on to my throat is swollen. My throat, it is the inside of our neck. 목 안쪽에 되겠죠? is swollen. 부어 있어요. I feel like throwing up, vomiting. I feel like vomiting. 토하고 싶어요라는 말. Another one, symptoms. I feel woozy. I feel nauseous. I feel queasy. And I feel sick to the stomach. These are all expressions you can use when you feel like vomiting, okay? Woozy, nauseous, queasy, sick to the stomach. I've got gas and indigestion. 소화도 안 되고요. 가스가 찼어요. I've got gas and indigestion, or I've got diarrhea. You're constantly going to the bathroom. I'm sure you all know what this is, right? Diarrhea. I feel a bit dizzy, lightheaded, weak in the knees. 어지럽다에 해당하는 표현들이에요. Dizzy, you all know that. Lightheaded is another word for dizzy. And weak in the knees. 힘이 없어요. Where? In the knees. 무릎에 힘이 없다는 건 주저앉을 것 같다란 말이죠. Okay, so you feel dizzy. Moving on to, I feel like I'm going to pass out or drop, meaning to faint, in other words. Pass out, drop. Let's take a look at some more symptoms. My head feels tight. 머리가 꽉 조이는 것처럼 아파요. This means you have a very bad headache. My lips are dry. My lips are chapped. 입술이 말랐어요. Another one. I've got a cold sore on my lower lip. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is if you check the dictionary, a cold sore, it will most likely say that it is a sore or a blister on the inside of your mouth, but that is incorrect. A cold sore is usually a blister on the outside of your lip. It is on your lip or near the lip, okay? So I've got a cold sore on my lower lip. This usually happens when you have a high fever or even a cold. Let's check out this one. I've got canker sores. canker sore. What is a canker sore? A canker sore is like a mouth ulcer. This is what happens inside your mouth, usually below your tongue, right under your tongue, or in the inside of your lip, okay? So that is a canker sore, so please do keep that in mind. Let's check out just two more, okay? I don't have an appetite. 입맛이 없어요. 식욕이 떨어졌어요. You can say I don't have an appetite. And one last one, I get cold sweats at night. What is a cold sweat? Cold, 차가운 거죠. Sweat, that is perspiration. We sweat when we exercise. But a cold sweat put together is, in Korean, 식은땀. So basically, you feel cold all of a sudden, but you're sweating. That is a cold sweat. 밤에 식은땀이 납니다. You can say, I get cold sweats at night. So these are some actual talk expressions you can use when talking about sicknesses or illnesses. All right, that is a wrap. Welcome back, everyone. It is time for Idiom Attack for the day. Time for you to be attacked. Just joking. Time for you to kind of relax and shake your shoulders and enjoy the segment. Here is today's idiom. It, of course, has to do with today's topic, which is sickness or illness. Now, it is to have a frog in one's throat. To have something in one's throat. I'm sure that's easy to understand, but what is a frog? A frog is a 개구리 in Korean. Ribbit, ribbit, right? So, to have a frog in one's throat is today's idiom. Here is a sentence. I stayed out all night singing karaoke, and now I have a frog in my throat. You stayed out all night singing. 노래를 너무 열심히 불렀어요. And now you have a frog in your throat. It means that you have lost your voice. You're having a difficult time speaking, okay? So the definition of to have a frog in one's throat is 목이 잠기다, 목이 쉬다, okay? To lose one's voice and to have trouble speaking due to a problem with one's throat. So you may have a cold and cough all night and end up with a frog in your throat. Here's another sentence. Joe has been coughing all night and now he has a frog in his throat. He's been coughing all night and now he has a frog in his throat, meaning he has a difficult time speaking. He might have lost his voice. So that is a wrap for today's Idiom Attack.
Talk about a time when you were very sick. What happened to you? How long were you sick for? Did you have an infection? What kind of treatment did you receive? What did you tell your boss or teacher?
It all happened when I was second grade in high school. I was ready for the next day's school trip. Suddenly, my stomach began to hurt like one big hammer punched my stomach. My parents said it would be okay because I used to suffer from enteritis. So I just waited for my stomach to calm down. However, it got worse and worse as time went by. I could not stand still, sit down, or even lie down. So my parents got worried and brought me to the emergency room. The doctor said I have to get a surgery because my appendix got bursted. So I had to call my teacher that I could not go to school trip. It was really sad for me not to go to school trip, and also it was really hard for me to endure it.
Wow, appendicitis. Ooh, I've never experienced that. I heard it's quite painful. So let's take a look at the actual interview for today. Wonderful job, well done. Let's take a look at some good points first of all. She said, my stomach began to hurt like one big hammer punched my stomach. It would be perfect if we had added had, okay? To hurt like or just as if one big hammer had punched my stomach. Oh, that must have been very painful. Great way of talking about that pain. Also, she said, my parents said it would be okay. They said, it's okay, you'll be better soon because I used to suffer from enteritis. Suffer from something. You can suffer from an illness or disease. In this case, she said enteritis, which is an inflammation of the intestine. In Korean, it is called 장염. 장염이 있었군요. So her parents said, you'll be okay. Just, get some rest. Don't worry too much. But what happened? She got really sick. Now, a few oopsies. It all happened when I was second grade in high school. Now, second grade, you would use this expression when you're talking about elementary school. 초등학교, right? So you should say, it all happened when I was in my second year in high school. Even second year in college. 대학교 2학년, 고등학교 2학년, you would say, my second year in high school, my second year in college. Never second grade. Never use that unless you are talking about elementary school. One more, the doctor said I have to get a surgery because my appendix, 맹장이죠, got bursted. Now, you say get surgery, never say get a surgery. So let's check it out. The doctor said I had to get surgery because my appendix not got bursted, it ruptured. It ruptured or burst. So it's burst, 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 the tenses. So you don't say bursted, you would say burst, if it is even in the past tense. So my appendix ruptured or my appendix burst. Job well done, and that is all for today's actual interview as well. Now today we talked about all the expressions you can use when you were talking about a sickness or an illness that you experienced in the past. Of course, when it comes to talking about minor health problems, you could pick a partner and talk to him or her about it. Even try describing symptoms or even medical symptoms. Imagine you are at the hospital, at the doctor's, and talking about the symptoms you are feeling right now or experiencing. It can be a lot of fun unless you really get sick. So hopefully you all will stay healthy, take good care of your health, and of course I'll be back next time with another interesting topic. It's also related to our health, but not so much as to sickness, but we'll focus on injuries that you may have experienced. The next time we'll be going over going to the hospital, so please tune in for that as well. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can come to our homepage, post up your questions or even comments, so feel free to do that. Come to ebse.co.kr and look for 제니퍼의Actual speaking. That is all for today. I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.